think the first thing is identifying that you do need help, and that's sort of an important step. And then, like you said, there's a couple different types of help that you might need. So it's sort of figuring out, you know, that you need help and what kind of help you might need is sort of, I think, something you can try to do on your own and try to kind of frame out as best you can. Usually it starts with, some of the people closest to you. They don't have to be your colleagues, right? They can be your friends that aren't actuaries and don't even know about your job, but can be a safe space for you to kind of talk things through, and maybe they can help brainstorm. If they can't help you directly in the sense that they don't know the answer to your question, they can help you brainstorm ways to sort of navigate your organization, who you might feel the most comfortable with, and also who might be the best position to sort of help you out. So, if you're not comfortable immediately, picking up the phone and asking a colleague of yours, you can maybe check in with your family or friends, to sort of make sure you're kind of thinking about it the way that that'll help you get to the answer. And then, there's a lot of different ways of asking for help. I find that, I end up thinking through it a lot myself first, but usually, the most proximate person is either your manager, if it's help that you need sort of upwards, or it's probably your closest kind of peer if you're needing kind of help that's, maybe project based or something like that. They can certainly probably help you if it's a thing that's more of a technical, like I was asked to do this, but I really don't know how to do it. Do you know anything about this, or who might I reach out to kind of talk to? That's something that your peer might be able to kind of help you out with in a safe space, to do. But if it's more of I need this help in my career, or I have this personal issue that I need kind of assistance with, a lot of times that's, generally going to be something that you probably have to talk through with your manager. And I think trying to find ways to sort of just have a sense of comfort with those individuals helps, through normal interactions like lunch, or, quick chats, for coffee, or at the water cooler, if we're in the office, kind of having discussions, are good ways to sort of lay the foundation for when you do have more sensitive conversations that need to be had, hopefully they're a little bit more comfortable at that point in time.
So a lot of our interns or new hires, I see it, they're really scared to ask questions, right? Like, should I already know this? I don't know. I'm scared to ask. Don't spin your wheels forever and ever. Ask the question if you must ask the question. But before asking the question, I always say, have you asked this question before? Have you asked this question before? Or is the information needed to answer this question easily available? If check those two things first. And if the answers are no, I haven't asked this before, no, I don't think that the information is available, then don't be afraid to ask the question. No one expects you to sit there and spin your wheels all day and try to figure it out. If you can't figure it out, you ask your question. And a lot of times people also have that, oh my God, is this a stupid question? I don't know thing. Most of the time, other people have that question too. They're just thinking the same thing. So they didn't ask either.
Usually when I'm stuck on a project, I see if I can at least think about different solutions that I can think about, where it might not be the best or the cleanest, but just trying to at least come up with a recommendation. And then after that, I would kind of present it to, say, my manager and be like, okay, I'm stuck on this. This is how much of it I understand. And based off of my understanding of it, here are kind of what I would do. What do you think? So that it's not necessarily just being like, I'm stuck, what do I do? But it's more of, okay, I've really thought about it, and this is how I interpreted it, and this is what I'm thinking. Do you agree or not? So kind of framing it a little bit that way, and just kind of coming up with a recommendation and just getting feedback versus just straight up asking for help is something that I've kind of done.
I am the weird person who is an open book and I like to just talk about everything to people. And so I just get way into too much detail to a lot of people. And I think that helps me normalize some of the challenges that I have, but it also helps other people see that it's okay to talk about these things. So in order to feel comfortable to ask for help, I would sit down and think of who are the people that I'm confident having these conversations with. Who can I develop these relationships with? So it might be your partner, it might be your mom, it might be a best friend, it might be a colleague at work that you typically get coffee with, even if you don't work directly with them. Whatever it might be, it is important to start making a list of who it is that you feel comfortable having those conversations with. And recognize that you're not the only one that needs help. So at the end of the day, if you are open about something, they might be open with you about something that they have going on that they may have not told anyone about because they didn't think that there was anyone who would want to listen. So being that back and forth, like we need each other. It's so important to have each other to help each other out. So it's very like if you do it, they'll probably do it. And so you can't think of it as like you being a burden on someone else, because the reality is they probably need to be a burden on you. And then it's not a burden for anyone.
I think like that's where building and leaning on your network is really important. So I think when I was in school and even shortly out of school, I think I definitely had an attitude of self-sufficiency and independence, which is good. Like you want to be able to struggle through problems on your own. But I think you manage stress better, you learn faster, you produce more when you can lean on others to learn. It's like we are, whether you're in a small organization or a big one, like there are people around you that know how to do certain things better than you. And getting comfortable going to immediate coworkers or people in other functional areas to get answers to questions or to understand how to develop some new tool or process, learn how to use and develop a new model. I think being able to being comfortable asking others for help and guidance is the way that you overcome things that you don't know how to move forward with. I think that I think that like that is, and I guess it's a fine line knowing when and how often to do that. Like I think it is good to do some independent struggle and critical thinking. But when someone sitting next to you knows how to solve a problem and you don't, asking that person for a little help will get you prepared for the next time. It'll make your day go a lot smoother. I think there's a difference between asking for help and having someone else do the work. And we shouldn't conflate the two.
Yeah, I think that actually working in consulting helped me a lot with this, because there was just no time to waste. So I was encouraged very early on, ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. No question is silly. No question is stupid. Let's not even use the language of stupid, dumb, right? We can cut that out, ask all the questions. Often it's helpful for folks to have at least a bundle of questions together so that you're asking a few questions at a time to one person. But I think one of the very early skills is to simply like lean into that discomfort of not knowing, because literally every actuary starts off knowing, like if we feel like we don't know anything. It's a very steep learning curve. That's totally normal. That's expected. Ask. If you're, I'll say connect with Ola first because of all the ways that we can help support. But actually, honestly, in general, you need support to be an actuary. No one becomes an actuary by themselves. That's just, I don't know if anyone actually believes that they become an actuary by themselves. Like you need time. You need persistence. You need money. You need resources to pay for materials and exam fees. You need to be able to have that support around you to be able to succeed. So, if you're just starting out in college and you've decided actuarial is pretty cool, start building up your support system to make sure that you have the time and resources and community that you need to succeed.
I said before, I feel like the actuarial community is really nice and supportive, and we do want each other to succeed. And if you're not afraid to reach out and ask questions, because your manager, I don't know, might not think to train you as, you know, specifically as they should for a variety of reasons, but it's definitely not because they think you know it. They might be busy, they might be distracted, you know, they might just whatever, you know, not be a good trainer, but you got to ask questions. I think that's my biggest advice.
One, when someone comes into a job for the first time, there's one of two things that happen. Typically, there's either we call it lone wolf. They become a lone wolf, which means that they will like get a project, work on it exclusively with themselves, not tell anyone about it, and then have a finished answer and say, ta-da, this is the answer. When in a workplace, it's much more collaborative than that. You know, everyone's moving together to get to the answer, so that the train isn't, you know, you don't accidentally go to you know, North Dakota rather than Iowa. You know, you kind of just, everyone understands where you're going and why you're going to where you're going. So maybe we call it lone wolfing, but basically the concept is I'm going to plow away at this and get an answer because that's what it's like in college in terms of, you know, an assignment, if you will, like college. The other flip side of what people do is the exact opposite of that, which is I get an assignment, I don't know what to do, therefore I'm going to ask everyone around me every last detail of any decision that I could possibly make. And those are usually then, you know, there's obviously a happy middle in here. There's a way to update people at a level which then is receptive from the other side. And then at the same time, you know, making sure that you're going in the right direction with everyone along with you when you're, you know, if you have an analogy, if you're driving the bus, everyone's alongside being a passenger in that bus. You aren't driving the bus alone at the same time as no one else is driving that bus for you. So that's really maybe the lesson that I constantly give is finding that right balance of collaboration in the workplace.